1841, Massachusetts became the first slave state in the United States of America. Okay, I want to go into, first of all, what happened is I bought a new Mercedes. 4 days later, my regional director, Paul.
When did you buy the Mercedes and what year to go? And tell us what the relevance.
I bought a Mercedes in 2017, a brand new Mercedes. Had it for 4 days. I was at work in lockup. My regional director, Paul Alvarado, with my chief, Michael Grayback, came into the lockup. Regional Paul Alvarado gave me an anonymous letter and an incident report from my little brother, Wayne Allen, that were forced to sign it by Steve Woods. Steve Wood is a house Negro.
Okay, why was the letter given to you and explained why? Because Mr. Allen wasn't a correctional officer
Right.
at the time. Was this something that was there in the academy or?
Yes, there was an academy, and Wayne's like my little brother, and I was just messing with him while I was getting my hair cut. So all of a sudden, Steve Woods is listening to the conversation, listening to the voice message, and he typed out an incident report and had Wayne
What did the
sign
voice
it.
message?
The voice message said, "If you don't give me a call, I hope you fail academy." I don't lie. That's exactly what I said. But this is what they said. I said, I got you in this effing academy, and I'll get you kicked out this effing academy anytime you want, which I did not say. That's the Commonwealth story, which is not, of course, true because it's his story.
You gotta what?
Yeah. Also, when it comes to the Commonwealth, like for me, I came in and did a radio interview after I filed my initial complaint against Paul Alvarado.
So I said 216, so it wasn't 216, it was more like 217. So I want to stand corrected.
No, it was 216, 217.
Okay, I just want to make
sure. Yeah, it
sure
initially started in 216, but he took it forward to 217.
Okay.
Because what happened in 2016 was I saved a young man's life in lockup. Saved his life. I'm not the senior officer. I'm just an officer. The senior officer should have called the supervisor, which was Sherry Otero. She should have called the supervisor, but instead she's on the telephone talking to her daughters, telling them she's going to be late for work. So then the regional director comes out there, he interviews us all. He comes in the interview saying, if I was going to discipline anybody in this hearing, I would have had the union president with me. Threw me off because the union president should have been with me, not him. So then I got written up for not calling a supervisor. When, if they're going to write up anybody, it should have been Sherry Otero, who's the lead court officer. Because it wasn't me. Paul Alvarado made sure that everybody knew that I was not in charge of Chicopee District Court.
Who is Paul Alvarado? What was his title at the time?
Paul Alvarado is the regional director of Region 1. Ever since he got into Region 1, it's been going downhill. He can do what he wants. He can say what he wants because he's part of the Commonwealth.
And what's the regional director's responsibility? Like, what do they do and who are they?
He's in charge of all the daily operations, the chiefs, anything that goes on in the courthouse.
Okay.
As far as security, he's in charge of,
okay,
which he knows absolutely nothing about. So then comes 2017 when he accused me of being a drug dealer. So then after that,
what are the grounds for accusing a court officer of being a drug dealer? Why did he accuse you?
He had an anonymous letter with absolutely no substance to it, and called me a drug dealer off an anonymous letter. That my name wasn't even in the anonymous letter. That they say Paul Nato wrote for Paul Alvarado so they can slow me down from getting promoted.
So wait, hold on. So this has to do with a person of color being promoted, and so how? What
Absolutely.
proof do you have of that? And are there other incidents with people of color not getting promoted in the job because of like letters like this or information like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Only time they promoted anybody of color was when the article came out in the Boston Globe that they wasn't promoting enough black females and black officers. Then they had a big round of promotions, but then they stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Once they told his story to the public, now they can do what they want to get, and that's exactly what happened. So, people of colors got promoted. Then all the illegal activities started going on. When Heather Boulay started hiring people from the jail, hired her wife as a security officer, which everybody knows is unethical and unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody does nothing because it's the Commonwealth. Because
So, babe, so tell us now, hiring a wife. Explain that. You saying hired from the jail, so she was recruited to come in.
She got hired as a training director, and she brought all her people.
Well, wait.
From
Somebody
the jail
from
with
the
her.
outside got hired as a training director. What about the people that's already there? Were there more qualified people there?
Absolutely.
So how? So explain to us, why did she hire her? And
I don't know why Director Morrow hired her. I don't want to say something that I don't know is true. Only thing I can do is speak the truth. So that I really don't know. But all I know is Heather did a whole bunch of illegal stuff. Nick D'Angelo, he smacked a cadet. The AG office won't do nothing about that. The DA, because they're part of the Commonwealth, won't do anything. They should have been charged, but nothing's being done. I just want to contact
the
council. Start.
I want to say this, so in order for the DA go ahead act charges, office, we don't file the trial. So the DA cannot move ahead with any charges of any kind of criminal activity. It's like a lot of people think it's the police. They think it's not until the clerk office signs them the case. And you know that all too well. Am I correct?
You're absolutely right.
What you said, the DA. So what happened with the clerk office? The clerk office never
did anything because the clerk office is the Commonwealth.
Right.
The Commonwealth is the most powerful thing that's going on because people don't know. There's only 4 Commonwealths in the United States. There's the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which all are technically dictator states. That means the Commonwealth dictates what they want, do what they want, like they did to me. The Commonwealth, their MCAD policy states that if you file a complaint, they listen to your complaint. If it's past 300 days, they'll make a determination. They made that determination with me and filed the complaint.
Okay, so well, hold on. Let's go back, Mr. Lawson. So she was hired, and why was that significant? Why she was hired over anybody else? Was she like promoted or any? Tell us.
She came from the jail. I don't know. She was hired from the outside.
Okay.
She was hired for the outside, and really, all the academies are uncertified because she didn't have the certified staff. Only certified drill instructor is Dennis Lawson, certified drill instructor, and they know that. So
but you never worked at the academy.
I wouldn't work at the academy because everything they were doing was illegal, and Steve Woods and Lenny Johnson are not certified to do anything but to be house Negroes. That's what they're certified to do.
Okay, so talk a little bit about um the Commonwealth. So talk a little bit about your case now. So what happened to your case as we move on forward to this, and what was the outcome of it? So you had your what was
Okay, right. So they filed a complaint. That means then it gives the Commonwealth the opportunity to answer my complaint, and then I file a rebuttal to the complaint. That's where it's supposed to end, but in my case, that's where it didn't end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then she had.
Well, what was your complaint? What was the complaint against you?
No, it was a complaint against them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, why did they terminate you again when you was work? Because you went over it a little bit, but what was the total outcome? Because you didn't report back to work, or they told you to report back to work, and you was hurt. What?
I was still out injured.
Okay.
I have a contract.
Right.
Nobody else has an agreement in a Commonwealth with me.
Mm-hmm. And what is your contract?
My contract, it states that I can't stand or lift more than 10 pounds. And light duty. The Commonwealth trial court does not have light duty. So I couldn't go back to work. All I kept doing was getting threatened by Paul Alvarado. So once I filed a complaint, do that, then we had a investigation hearing. Kelly Burgess should be fired because she let the Commonwealth answer my rebuttal, which is against the law, and everybody knows it's against the law. So at the hearing, Kelly Burgess asked me about the anonymous letter, that I got a letter in February stating that the investigation was over, which was a lie because I never seen that letter. She asked the Commonwealth to produce that letter. They never produced that letter. She asked the Commonwealth to produce the union contract. They didn't even produce that. And then I went on, after that, I asked her for a progress report. She sends it back to me saying the case is dismissed for lack of evidence and because I didn't file it within 300 days. And just ended it like it was nothing. I mean, and just said, well, you can't talk to me, move on. But before I can tell you that, Carol Mutchison, on this same case I had at the Commonwealth before I was leaving, Carol Mutchison was the appeals officer in that case. Mm-hmm. Carol Mutchison didn't even allow me to get an appeal. So now, after Kelly Burgess does this and I lose, guess who my appeal officer is? Carol Mutchison.
Okay.
How can I win? It's impossible. Mm-hmm. So what she did was like they all did. They just dragged me on, let me know that they're the Commonwealth. So what I did was I requested everything that you would give an attorney. Right? So once I did that, they sent me about 250 pages of things that I've never seen before. If they were supposed to give it to a lawyer, they were supposed to give it to me. That's a violation of discovery, which is against the law.
What some of the, like, did you get a chance to read all of that? Like, what was some of the infractions in those letters?
There was nothing in the letters. I mean, it was nothing there. It was just like papers, stacks of paper. That meant absolutely nothing. But the thing is, I am supposed to have the opportunity to rebut whatever they say, because the DA knows how things work. He wouldn't even accept my phone calls. The DA know how things work. The prosecutor, defense, the prosecutor. Judge make a decision, jury makes a decision. Didn't happen that way for me.
So who did you reach out to besides the Respect for Life show?
Okay.
And who did you reach out to, and what was the income, and what could anybody do? So, and I don't want you, we have these organizations, and people can do what they can do. So I just want to say that before you.
Well, people can say and do what they want, but nobody in politics, the NAACP, senators, House of Representatives, they're all terrified of the Commonwealth. So when they hear that word, the Commonwealth, you start to get the runaround. But me, I'm only scared of one man, and that's God. So I fear no man. So the thing is that now she's dragged me along. And in my appeal, I'm telling her all the things that Kelly Burgess did illegally. Mm-hmm. Kelly Burgess gave the Commonwealth the opportunity to answer my rebuttal, but she went even farther. She put their answers in her answer, which is totally 100% illegal. They cannot answer my rebuttal without me answering their rebuttal. What they did to me was totally illegal. The AG's office doesn't want to do that because they're scared of the Commonwealth. NAACP, scared of the Commonwealth. Senator Neal, scared of the Commonwealth. Joseph Farrell on the Governor Council, scared of Commonwealth. All these people I reached out for. The only person that will help me out is City Councilor from Ward 8, Zeta Gurin. Go by. That's the only one that tried to help me. And in the email, she said she didn't understand why nobody else was going to help me. Mm-hmm. But she only could do so much. This is her first time in office. Right. And the thing is, the Commonwealth can make policy and procedures. They can break their own policy and procedures. They can break federal and state laws, and then they can close the case without question. And nobody can say nothing.
Because it's the Commonwealth.
Because it's the Commonwealth. The case is closed. Nobody has no say but the Commonwealth. And who's in charge of the Commonwealth is the governor. I'm pretty sure the governor does not know what's going on in his Commonwealth. His Commonwealth is being run like a dictatorship. They dictate what's going on. If we don't do it, we suffer the consequences. Right. We shouldn't have to live that way.
So now what is the preparations in the next steps? We kind of facilitated, once again, we facilitated something down at Palmuso to get the story, to get news coverage. They did a story. So one of the things I just want to say is, like, when we have stories, hold on, let me fit. When we have stories of this magnitude, and it deals with the kind of treatment that you get treated in there, and a lot of times people will say, well, you can't call it racism because we have, black chiefs and black people working positions, but people don't understand what people had to do to go through the positions. And when they do get these positions, how they treated in these positions. I just want to throw that out there. But we got to understand, too.
The other ones that get promoted have to fall in line.
Yeah. Well, that, too. So before I get back into, I wanted you to get into what are the provisions going on right now. Like I said, we did the thing at Palmuso, and then the thing was on TV, and it seemed like things died out. Two questions. What is in provision? But before you answer that, what was the environment working with in trial court like when it came to race?
Oh, it's awful. Mm-hmm. Oh, you can't get promoted by race. Only way you can be promoted, you got to be a house Negro. Other than that, you're not making no progress in the trial court.
Yeah, and I just want to say this because I'm not making it about race, even though I asked that question. There are numerous people who have negative experience that are working in trial court. Now, he's a testament that I have got several calls from people. Once again, we had Gary Porter on the show. You already know what his story is. We had Sharon Rodriguez come talk to me. You know her story. We've had Tracy Willingham come talk to us. Y'all don't know her story, all of her story. And then I've had other individuals reach out to me and say, look, this was happened. The point about it is, once again, I come from the environment 10 years ago, what happened as me working for the Commonwealth and the Department of Correction. So I know what the struggle is. I went through all the same thing that they're going through 10 years later. So it's going to be an ongoing struggle, a never-ending journey. So I understand it. So nobody can tell me about the working environment in the Commonwealth because I know, I experienced it. I just want to say this, though. What are your provisions, once again, that we're trying to do?
Well, the provision is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to the governor so the governor could correct the wrong that was made by the Commonwealth. You know, they shouldn't be able to do what they can do because it's all against the law. It's all against the law. But once again, we got to remember, it's the Commonwealth. That's why officers, anybody work for Commonwealth of color, or if you're not in that group, you're singled out. You make no progress unless you become one of them or a house Negro.
So what? I see you got the Mercedes shirt on. What's the significance of you wearing a Mercedes? Is that what the story you went back earlier? You had to. So as a person of color, you can't buy a Mercedes, and as with your high, it's not like you make $10,000 to $20,000 a year.
Right.
It's not like you make that. You make Mercedes money. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. Black people can't have good credit. Black people can't have investments. That's how people make money. That's how people get rich. But evidently, black people can't do it as far as Paul Alvarado is concerned. Paul Alvarado has not denied calling me a drug dealer or denied doing anything to me. The Commonwealth is doing nothing to him. Absolutely nothing. They're pretending like it never happened. He's walking around doing the same old dirty stuff he's doing. And then he got his people promoted. He got his house Negro, Steve Woods, promoted, finally. After all the dirt he did to everybody to get promoted, you shouldn't have to turn your back on your race, your people, or anybody to get promoted. You should get promoted off your merit. Steve Wood got promoted for lying on people, for telling his story, not the story, which is the truth. By telling his story, got him promoted because it made the Commonwealth happy. That's wrong. He should be demoted.
So what?
Because he got it. He didn't get it the right way.
So what needs to happen on your part? What needs to happen?
What needs
Are you asking for your job back or
no,
you not?
I'm asking to speak to the governor. Because like I said, the AG's office is scared. The DA's office is scared. The senators and congressmen are scared. House Representative Mike Finn is a court officer. He knows everything that was done to me was wrong. He said, Dennis, what can I do about it? It's the Commonwealth.
Who said that?
Mike Finn,
Okay.
House of Representative, West Springfield. That's what he told me. He told me that. Then you got Congress. Then they said, oh, they'll send you to the office and send you to the office. You know, keep sending people. Every part of my appeal, all the paperwork went to every person that I've mentioned.
So it's not like
they don't have it.
It's not like people don't know.
They know exactly
about the story. So what it is? So do you think it's like a waiting game and is it a waiting game or something that they want to break? Are they trying to break you or something?
They're terrified of the Commonwealth. They're not gonna break me. He wants to break me. And he's on. That's why I'm in here. That's why it doesn't matter about anything. It's about the truth. I'm tired of people listening to their story. The media prints the Commonwealth story. What the Commonwealth wants the media to print, they print. Mass Live's the same thing. All the television stations, all they do is print his story instead of the story, which is the truth. I've went to news stations. They wouldn't even speak to me. They took all the information and said, we'll go over it. I took the investigation from the academy.
Let's give first of all the Metro Record. Let's give them credit because the Metro Record had a story on this same story about 6 or 7 months ago that we did cover that out to Doug Hooks from the Republican because he covered it as well too. I don't think his story was as in depth as the Metro Record story because the Metro Record basically let you guys talk. We didn't take y'all words and basically run it. You did. I mean, we did interviews with all of y'all, and we definitely put it in. So you've seen the Metro Records,
Right? Absolutely.
So it was thorough. So if
the truth.
Let me just do a shameless plug. So you
The
look at
truth
the
was
Metro
told.
Record,
That's where the truth is at.
That's where you're gonna get the truth. The truth is right here. So everybody looking, make sure you pick up a Metro Record. But we did cover the story, and we did take time. And like I said, I thought out of my best interest of it, because of what happened to me, was to basically facilitate the thing that happened down at Palmuso. So correct.
Mm-hmm, yes.
So when we did that, I thought that there was going to be some track work, but once again, you're talking if it's about you reaching out to these people and these people not responding, then you guys got to remember when it's come to voting time, you got to get them out of there, because these are people. If they're scared of the Met, and I'm not, and everybody I know ain't scared of the Commonwealth, but when you're talking about making decisions in people's lives and careers and stuff, and the nepotism and what goes on, then I mean, you need somebody in there that's got your back, that's going to fight, not somebody that's going to shuck and jive with you. So I just really wanted to say that. So on that note,
can I just say one thing, please? I want the audience to listen to this. All the illegal stuff that Heather Boulay did by hiring and promoting people illegal. Nick DeAngelis smacked people, pushed people in academy. Both of those people, they're still on paid administration leave. After the director wrote a letter saying that his staff should resign.
Wait. You talking about when that report came out from Academy, they're still how long are they going to be on paid administrative leave?
They're the Commonwealth as long as they want. And they're still earning good time, and they're earning vacation time and sick time. They're still earning that. I'm earning nothing.
So what was the reason for them to be on administrative leave? And why are they getting rewarded for being on administrative leave?
Because everybody act like it's over. Because the director resigned. He resigned, but absolutely nothing has changed. Not one person on his staff has resigned like he requested. He requested it, but nobody's following through on it.
So talk a little bit about that, Mr. Lawson. So when he resigned, what happened when he resigned, and who he said? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the director.
And who was the director?
Director Morrow, ex-director Morrow, hired his own investigation team to do an investigation.
How many years did Morrow have in there?
A good 5 or 6.
No, I'm talking about total. Hasn't been in like 40-something years?
Morrow?
Yeah.
No, like
I'm
16 years.
I'm talking about the total overall years.
Oh, that he said he has is about 40.
Okay, so I will retire too.
Yeah.
He's going to get a pension. But that's another story. But go ahead.
So, like I said, nothing happened to these people. Now, after I lost my first appeal, Kelly Burgess, the Commonwealth owes me over 30 weeks vacation. After I sent the stuff in for the appeal, they sent me a check for $138. It felt like they said, "Nigger, we're the Commonwealth. Take it."
All right, you gotta.
I'm sorry about that, but I got to tell you how I feel. My mom told me not to hold back. That's why it's drizzling right now, because I'm speaking through her. She made me the strong black man that I am today.
Oh, 138 now?
Yeah. 100. No, they owe me 30 weeks vacation.
But they sent you, what was the?
They sent me a check of $183 with no explanation. It's just a check for $183.
Okay.
There was no explanation of why they were giving it to me. They just sent it to me. That's why I said what I said. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have said that if they wouldn't have did that.
Right.
That's how they're talking to me. They're telling me, you don't have a lawyer. We can do what we want, when we want, how we want, because everybody's scared of the Commonwealth and you're by yourself.
What is the and I know we had a few people had asked about attorneys, and they did obtain them, and I mentioned to you too. Where the process you are with obtain an attorney for this?
Well, I have an attorney on the second case, but the 300 days has passed on the other case. So in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you only have 300 days to file a discrimination complaint, which makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
But it's the sort of statute in the state of in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I accidentally called it a state, but it's the Commonwealth.
But that don't. Well, one thing I want to say, because I know that don't mean that there's no compensation. That's not going to happen because of that. It just means you can't appeal on that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So what is the status and what is happening right now with the attorney?
Well, he's gonna we're gonna file charges against the MAACP. Against MCAD for.
Remember, there's no charges being filed against the NAACP or nobody. So not Boston or Springfield, nothing. So let's just say that because people will tune in to the broadcast, and next thing you know, Drew Keatonell is getting all these calls, and that's not what happened. That's not what he said. He said the MCAD, which is what? The
Mass Department of Discrimination.
Okay, Mass Department of Discrimination.
You got to remember, they give you those initials, but when you read it, it starts off with the Commonwealth. Yeah. Everything evolves around the Commonwealth. I just hope all the listeners get to their representatives and get me to the governor, because as we know, everybody else is scared and he's in charge of the Commonwealth.
So what? So back to this discrimination. So he's filed. You guys have filed that, and what else? What are the steps he's taking?
That's all we can do.
Okay.
Because you can't do nothing after 300 days.
Mm-hmm.
So all that first case can do is piggyback for the second case. Mm-hmm. That's all it can do, because the 300 days have passed. Mm-hmm. But MCAD waived it. They waived the 300 days. They have everything. Mm-hmm. It shows that they waived it. Well, that's the first investigator I had.
That's a good sign by being waiving it. But go ahead.
The first investigator I had, his name was Joseph Greenvich. Joseph Greenvich said to me that once they answer the complaint, they only can add what he asked for. 2 weeks later, I get Kelly Burgess. Change. No reason. Because Joseph Greenvich was going to do the right thing. So they took him off my case, because he already told me by looking at the stuff that my case was good, because it's true. One thing you can't do, I posted it on Facebook, is change the truth. The truth will never change. I can tell my story over and over and over again, and it'll never change, because it happened to me. They got a guy walking around calling black men drug dealers, ruining their career, and walking around like nothing's wrong. You got people out suspended on administrative pay, still earning $120,000, $130,000 a year, their vacation time and their sick time. They owe me and won't give me but $183, and they owe me over 30 weeks vacation, because they're the Commonwealth. Only thing can be done is we got to stop it. All these people that scared, the people that scared the Commonwealth need to come together and stop being scared of the Commonwealth, because their titles say state, but it really should say Commonwealth. It shouldn't say state representative. It should say Commonwealth representative. Yeah. That's what it really should say.
Well, things are legal, so people got to understand when you have your legal paperwork and documents, it says Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So you got to pay attention to what the Commonwealth really is. So even on your driver's license, it says some will say the state of Massachusetts is not even putting some on the Commonwealth.
Right.
So when you do your Social Security, it says Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
So people got to understand,
right? It says the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so you got to understand that. Legally, you can tell them if you wasn't born here not to put the Commonwealth on your license. Now, if you want to dispute that, you can, but that's true. I know that because I don't have the state of Commonwealth on mine as well, and I can show it to you. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's People just got to stand up to the Commonwealth. All our elected officials, it seems like only thing they want to do is anything federal. And like I wanted to tell you, and I'm going to tell you now, I took the investigation, everything that happened to me, to the FBI. The FBI told me, don't be surprised if we don't investigate this. Because it's the Commonwealth. The FBI said, do not be surprised if this is not ever investigated. It has never been investigated. So that's what he told me that day. Because it's never been investigated.
Right.
You know, the DA, our DA, talk all this positive stuff. Won't he get the person that slapped that cadet? You want to take out all these people of color? Take down those people that deserve to be taken down. Stop all the corruption that's going on in the Commonwealth. That's all you have to do. It's very easy. Because the man resigned. He wanted to change because he knew that it needed to be changed. And that's the ex-director, Mara. He knew the change that needed to be made. So that's why he said his whole staff should be replaced. His whole staff. Now, when I say scared of the Commonwealth, I'm not going to forget Nage. Nage is working with the Commonwealth. So all the Commonwealth do is give them a little pay to the side. The union ain't going to help you. Because I asked the union for help. They told me, Dennis, there's nothing I can do for you. That's what David Bernard told me.
And that's the head of the...
He's the negotiating guy. Mm-hmm. He told me, nothing I can do for you, Dennis. I told Nate, they couldn't believe it. On March 20th, the investigator that did the investigative academy, she called me to inform me that the Commonwealth attorney wanted all the notes. And I said, okay, you can give my name. You know, I'm open. And then she said, how's it going? I told her what happened. She could not believe that I lost. She couldn't believe that I lost because she looked at my face when I was telling my story and she knew I was telling the truth. But she said she couldn't do nothing because she's hired by the Commonwealth. So how can I get help? She knows I didn't do nothing. Everybody knows I did nothing wrong.
So basically the answers and the complies, all the complies you're getting is it's the Commonwealth.
It's
I
the
can't
Commonwealth.
do nothing, but it's the Commonwealth.
It's the Commonwealth.
All right. Well, most people know more than what they letting go if they saying it's the Commonwealth.
Yeah, and I just asked them if y'all can't do nothing, just give me to the governor. Once I explained to the governor, either he's the leader of the dictatorship, or he's going to correct it before he leaves. The people that's running for governor should be trying to correct a wrong and make it right. What they did to me is wrong. If anybody ever want the story 10 years from now, I can tell you. You know why? I can tell you because it happened to me. It didn't happen to nobody else. What happened to me. I had to go to a psychiatrist for years just so I don't snap.
Well, let's clarify this. It happened to a lot of people. You just came forward.
Right. He's absolutely right. It's happened to many, 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 many people, but I'm the only one that speaks out. By me speaking out, I hope
well,
they speak out.
I know. I mean, there's other people that speak out.
No, court officers.
Yeah, but court officers.
Right. Probation's speaking out, but I need the court officers to speak up.
Well, you need what it is the thing about it is, I mean, like I understand, like personally me, I would speak out. I understand why people don't. Some people are in the positions that it's a job for them, and they might not ever find a job like this again. I get all of that. I get the point where some people are being silent, but the point is you cannot complain or send me messages or complain and then not have a good night's sleep and then wake up in the morning like everything is okay, because that's a part, and I know that's a part of your mental health, which you explained. You had to go to see a psychiatrist. that's part of your mental health that wears on you. You have to have peace of mind with everything you do. I don't care with just walking down the street, you have to have peace of mind. You cannot not have peace of mind in the workplace because it translates to everything else, to your kids, to your family, to the people around you, to how you act. So coming forward is a sense of peace of mind. I mean, I look back 10 years ago, 12 years ago on some of the stuff I did, or I think I shouldn't have never said it, but I have more peace of mind than I ever had.
Absolutely.
So
I feel so much better.
So I don't regret it though.
And what made me feel even better, when a clerk from Juvenile, Ellen, invited me out to lunch and told me I was the best court officer she ever worked with in her whole career. The best.
Yeah.
Now, and she knows what's wrong with me, and she knows it wrong. She said in a million years she would never think I was a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. Never. The mayor, Dominic Sano, knows I'm not the drug dealer, but he said he don't have time for it right now. He too busy because he's scared of the Commonwealth. You know.
He said that too?
Yeah, he's scared of the Commonwealth.
Oh, so everybody's scared of it.
Everybody's scared of the Commonwealth.
Well, I mean, right is right, and I think there's some injustices that people need to jump in. So you got to understand that. I mean, it could be your nephew, your husband, your wife, or people who work in these conditions. And the only way that we can set, listen, one of the big money makers and industries in the Commonwealth is the justice system. Whether we work in it, and a lot of us are part of it. And, you know, we should have some sense of peace and have some directions. You know, there's a lot of, in my lifetime, I've heard a lot of wrongful convictions.
Absolutely.
And I've heard a lot of convictions that do meet up to the expectations, but I've also been dealt with certain ways walking in. I've been dealt with nicely by people. A lot of people, when I walk in, they don't even know what I do anyway. Right. But they see, if I come in dressed the way I am, I see how people treat, and I'll see how the officers treat it. And the ones that look like me, I don't get treated. I get treated with respect, and I see how the frowns on their face and stuff like that. So I just want to say, I mean, if you don't stand for nothing, then I mean, you'll just fall for anything. That old saying. But at the same time, if you don't stand for nothing, you have no peace with it.
I just want justice. Justice for me, and justice for all those court officers, all those probation officers, everybody that works for the Commonwealth. That's not part of the clique. Because if you're part of the clique, you're good. But if you're not, you have a long, long career ahead of you.
Yeah, and even with the upcoming conditions that in Springfield, dealing with the court, with the mold and infesting in cancer, and the reports about individuals coming to cancer, I even heard in the situation that they were told, you know, it was a call, or they were on a 3-4 hour call, for them to not mention that and say nothing. You still better come to work.
Right.
So these are the circumstances that you're dealing with. I mean, these are people, like I said, these are family members of the people. These are these things play on people's mental health, though. So on that note, you have an attorney. Things are rolling. What's the next steps?
The next step,
besides being on this show,
the next step is for the people that are listening to this show to get me to the governor's office. He's the only one that can do that because he's the leader of the Commonwealth. Mm-hmm. I need to speak to the leader, not the leader's clerk, the leader. I want to speak to the governor because the AG's office is scared. All the senators are scared. All the House of Representatives are scared. NAACP is scared. Everybody's scared of the Commonwealth. So you can't get help. Attorneys won't take your case because you're going against the Commonwealth, because they work with the Commonwealth every day. So they can't take you. They got to pick and choose the case they can take because they're going against the Commonwealth, and they know.
So I take it your attorney's not from here, right?
No. He don't care about the Commonwealth.
Yeah. Right.
And they keep telling you to go to Boston to get your attorneys. Don't do it. Boston is the Commonwealth.
All right. Listen, on that note, I want to thank our guest, Mr. Lawson, for sharing your story. Again, we had you on before, and I'm laughing with it as you find out. Like I said, I went through it where nobody's listening about the Commonwealth, now the other people going to it. You just have to be very, 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 very careful. And like I said, if you don't stand up for anything, I mean, it's just heartbreaking. So on the last March, you did do closing remarks, so we want to thank you. And once we get an update, we want you to story.
Absolutely.
Well. So we definitely want you
yes,
that.
And I have to go tell my